49ers also listening to trade calls for Trey Lance.
Makes sense.
Now, I did not get to hear the whole clip. I was caught up on all the phone calls. I do apologize. I should have listened to the clip from front to back, the whole press conference. They are very much a team, though, that says, we'll listen to anything. Somebody wants to call us, we'll fucking listen. You know Christian McCaffrey, we just traded for him? If somebody wants to call us and say they want to give us 2 1s for Christian McCaffrey, especially the 2 1s that we gave up for Trey Lance to move up to number 3, we will certainly listen to that and see if it's in the right move for us. Ian Rappaport, though, says they've received inquiries from several teams looking into trade for Trey Lance. The conversations have been the result of San Francisco fielding the calls, not making them. With teams aware that Brock Purdy is likely the future starter, although we do not know how he's going to recover from Tommy John, we won't know until 3 months after the surgery. We're about 3 weeks in to the surgery right now. So we're still, quick math, 9-10 weeks away from knowing what Brock Purdy's going to be able to do this season. Could be he's going to be all right back by the beginning of it. Could be the motherfucker misses until December.
Yeah.
So there's a big window that it could be, but he seems to be very confident, as do the people speaking about it. And as soon as he became the starting quarterback for the Niners, they became great. He was obviously Mr. Irrelevant, pick number 259. 270.
257.
A lot of them. There's a lot of picks that happened. Then it was his. He was the last one. Sometimes it would be much better to be an undrafted free agent than be that late of a 7th round pick, because then you could at least pick and choose who you're going to potentially compete with for either a practice squad spot or a roster spot. When you get drafted, it's like, hey, you're coming here. Welcome to our quarterback room. Brock Purdy, he became the guy. If he's healthy, John Lynch said there'd be no reason not to give him a spot. But if he's not healthy, don't you kind of have to see what Trey Lance does? Don't you kind of have to see what Trey Lance does, AJ? And if you don't, where would he go? The Colts? Is Trey Lance coming to the Indianapolis Colts, AJ?
It's possible. I mean, the first question I had was, what's the team willing to give up in compensation for them to get rid of Trey Lance? Obviously, they're not out there, cold calling people, probably asking for Trey. But if they've received multiple calls asking, hey, what are you thinking with Trey? Then yeah, I'm sure they probably got excited. They have Sam Darnold there that they signed as well. So if Brock Purdy for some reason isn't ready for the start of the season, they probably feel okay with Sam in there.
Yeah, it's not a bad contract either for any team. Now, granted, it would have to be a brand new offense that Trey Lance would have to learn, and who knows what he's able to do, how healthy he'll be.
Worse weapons.
Interesting dilemma for Trey Lance.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta called. He fit that scheme. I just don't think he have had enough games to say he's not the guy.
We agree.
We do agree.
And
we have no idea who he is, I feel like.
No clue.
But if they're going to go with Purdy, they can't keep 3 of them. Didn't they just sign Sam
Darnold?
Sam Darnold. So you got to shop one of them.
Yeah,
so.
And you're not going to shop Sam. You literally just signed him.
Yeah. Right.
Brock Purdy, you're going to keep him. So Trey Lance, I guess, would be the one that you would shop, but you just made massive moves to get up to the number 3 overall pick and not take Mac Jones to take Trey Lance. Normally, and like 99% of the time, if a general manager gives up all that to move up to 3, and it is as big of a conversation as it was, and the coach's record, win-loss record, is what it is, normally that person's getting forced into the field, onto the field. Because, hey, we need to see
if you can play.
If the big brain that we made, big brain decision we made to trade away the future, we decided to do this, caused a lot of ripple effects across the entire football community. But we made this decision. We sacrificed some of the future of the franchise for this. We have to at least see if this fucking guy is the right guy, if our brains were right. If our brains were right, that this guy who had limited experience could become a franchise quarterback. Normally, egos, pride, everything else like that says that that's how humans are going to act in that situation who are making decisions. So if they trade away Trey Lance, I think a silver lining in this is the fact that John Lynch, former player, was like, yeah, last guy of the draft, actually really, really good for us.
Much better.
3rd overall guy, for whatever reason, didn't work out. New start for him. Good luck. We made a mistake, I guess, but we got to this point. Like, that is an interesting thing, AJ. That is a really interesting thing.
Well, you can easily justify it by saying, hey, we took Brock Purdy almost not as a flyer. We liked the kid in college, but they could have never envisioned exactly what would happen when he gets thrust into the lineup in the crazy groundswell of support from not only his teammates, but everyone outside of the Niners, what Brock Purdy could do. And you don't even have to say, hey, we messed up by taking Trey Lance. Hey, Trey was the guy we We liked him. We love what he was doing. We still think he's going to be great. But we had this other guy step in, and our offense runs very well with him.
Same brain made that decision, So, like, that's what I was.
It shows ultimate, like, to me, it shows that you are, like, you're confident in yourself if you can move on from him and not say, hey, I got to keep him on just because we drafted him, we moved up. Like, Belichick moves on from draft picks. He's not worried about, hey, this looks bad. I draft this guy in the second or third round.
Well, so that's not normal, though, and I think we all know that. And I think, like...
I think you got to be pretty secure in who you are.
I agree. And you got to be confident, not only football-wise, but as an actual human, too. Like, that is a full... I think that's an indicator as the human as a whole, willing to say... Yeah, we shouldn't have given up 2 1s for that. That was
it's not an exact science, guys. Sorry.
That was an expensive.
I'm trying to win some games.
That was an expensive price for us to pay. Obviously, had to go through a lot of conversations to get that approved by ownership and everything else. And it turned out we didn't need it. Yeah, it turns out it wasn't the right play. Like, that's not a normal thing for people to do. I remember on numerous occasions, to your point about them finding him in the 7th round or whatever, like explaining to coaches and people, like, hey, I know this guy's a 6th rounder. But, like, he's much better at special teams. And the 3rd round guy that you guys took, like, he's going to be backup. He's probably not going to play a lot. Like, the 6th rounder.
Not really willing to do special teams as much as the other guy, too, probably.
Yeah, the 2nd rounder that you guys got, I get it that you invested a 2nd rounder in him, but good news, just swap them. Hey, look, in your head, we can all just 6th rounder actually in the 2nd round, 2nd rounder actually in the 6th round. You made both of those decisions. It's like, you are still the smart person that found the much better football player, but that's just not how egos actually operate. So good on him being able to potentially do that.
And the reason why John Lynch don't get away with this is because they've been winning.
There it is. Yeah.
They've been fucking winning. Now, if you was in some fucking sorry-ass organization, we'll use Cleveland, for example, and you picked the quarterback.
Cleveland's got dunked on a lot today.
And you're losing, then your ass is getting fired.
Agreed completely. Be who you can afford to be is a classic statement.
Exactly what I was going to say. Like, they are, and AJ, and you guys all said it, they're secure. Like, John Lynch, Shanahan aren't going anywhere. You talked about Belichick. He's not going anywhere. They've made enough right decisions that they're allowed to make a wrong decision, even if it wasn't this expensive, so they can move this guy without worrying about their jobs.
Well, if Trey Lance goes somewhere else and has success, I think all parties would be like, yeah, happy for him.
Sweet.
Just didn't work out here. That's not normally how it goes. We're experiencing this with the Packers right now with Jordan Love. Like, they have to see him. Like, have to see him on the field.
Yeah.
Especially with how the situation's going. It's like, we caused quite a ripple effect in the NFL.
Yeah.
Quite a stir, with this whole move. We can't just sit through this entire thing and not even see. Like, that's just not how a human's going to act when a decision is made. So we're watching it happen right now in Green Bay. I guess Aaron wanting to move and being okay to move and everything like that certainly is a helper to it all. But it's an interesting dynamic when you talk about the humans being involved.
It's just hard to imagine, like, to Pac-Man's point, like, I don't know if we've seen him enough for them to just cut bait. Because, like, and again, like, compensation doesn't really matter that much because they have been winning. It's not like they can circle it and be like, well, fuck, if we would have had those 3 first-round picks, we could have gotten much better at this position and this position and this position. But if they do, like, who knows what the compensation will be, but if they end up being like, all right, fuck it, we'll get rid of him for a 4th and a 6th-round pick, and then he goes out and, like, wins an MVP the year after that when he's actually healthy, and, like, then it's like, man, what the fuck did we just do? Now, granted, you're winning with Purdy, or you were last year, so it probably makes it a little bit easier, but, like, you don't know what you have with the guy yet.
What'd you say when you're staying in the paint every once in a while?
Every once in a while, you're going to get dunked on. But that's the price of living in the paint, and especially when with the Niners, with them winning. That's why a team like the Texans would be very interesting, because then all of a sudden they got Trey Lance, can probably still take a quarterback at 12 because they don't have to rush to it early, and then you can
D'Amico.
Yeah, D'Amico
knows him, and the offense coordinator, right?
Yeah.
That
would be cool.
Say that again.